Okay, welcome to the final video on our key concepts then. This is going to look at context. Now, context is really important for when you're studying English as well, because it is one of those things that you need to know for multiple subjects. Basically, context means everything that influences a text. And in media specifically, there are 4 different contexts that you might need to know. Okay, so historical context is basically anything that is a significant part of history. So major events such as like world wars have a large impact on the product and the audience, not just at the point that it occurs, but for some time afterwards too. And you'll see that in an example in just a moment. Social context is anything happening in society. So the difference between men and women in terms of the disposable income that they have, the power that they have, this is also going to have a large effect on the product and who it's aimed at. Now, cultural context may seem really similar to social context, but it focuses more on the beliefs, values and morals that different groups have at different times. So, for example, family values or the way that different groups are treated is something that needs to be considered when we're looking at cultural context. And finally, political. The political party in power at the time is going to have a large effect on the product. Either the company is going to believe in and support the ideology of that particular party in power, or it will want to rebel and push against it, and that's something for us to be aware of because we might see signs of that coming through in the product. So as an example then, here's the 1956 advert for Quality Street. In terms of our historical context, it was produced in 1956, and although the Second World War had been over for some time at that point, the effects were still very fresh in the minds of the demographic, particularly because chocolate was always considered a luxury item. Now, in society, men still had more power than women, but there was a move towards feminism. And in our cultural context, there's also an emphasis on family values and this idea of staying together and being united, particularly after the Second World War. Now, in terms of our political context, this doesn't feature too much in our advert here, but it's worthwhile knowing that the Conservatives were in power, so this may explain emphasis on traditional family values. Also importantly, Winston Churchill had stepped down as Prime Minister, so somebody who was very strong in terms of leadership had stepped down, and that might reflect in other adverts at the time, although not necessarily in this one. Now, context is important in your exam because it appears throughout your exam. You need to know the background to all of your set texts that you study because you may be given a question based on them at any point during the 2 papers. So you can see here that we've got media context appearing in question 2A for component 1 section A. We've got context appearing in component 2. And so you need to understand the context for all of those set texts. It's no use just remembering 1 or 2 because we don't know and we have sort of very little in terms of what to guess on for what will come up in your exam. Obviously, now that 1 exam's already been done, we can make some sort of educated guess as to what won't come up, but exam boards trick us all the time. Okay, so you need to know this context. And how this will look then, so this is an example of 2A from component 1. How does social context influence magazines? In component 2, we've got how do crime dramas or sitcoms reflect the time in which they're made? And we've got this one here from component 2 as well. Music videos reinforce stereotypes of ethnicity. How far is this true of the 2 music videos we've studied? And one of those bullet points is to refer to relevant media contexts. Hopefully you guys have found that useful. Here are our key terms for today. If you haven't already, please subscribe. You can click the little button down below, and if you hit the bell icon next to it, then you get instant notifications every time I upload a new video. If you have any questions, comments, ideas, please pop them in the comments section on the video down below, or get in touch with me through Twitter at media_revision.